Hello, everybody. So, when I was 4 years old, my mother took me to a snuff film. It was called Bambi. Has anybody seen that movie? The title character's mother gets offed really early in the film. What were they thinking? I was 4 years old. I was sitting with my mother and thinking about, oh my God, what happens if mom goes away and I'm like Bambi and I'm lost in the woods? And so I expressed my fears to my mother, and she turned and gave me the most outrageous lie. She said, "Mommies don't die." Mom was a lifelong smoker. She started smoking, surreptitiously smoking corn silk with her brothers and sisters, her 7 brothers and sisters, on a farm in Iowa, and then graduated to sneaking her father's Marlboros, and eventually graduated to a 2-pack-a-day habit. Now, she really did try to stop, and one of the things she did was she switched to a pipe. Now, this was in the 70s, and she really liked the looks that she got, and she gave them right back. So one day she developed a cough, and my sister and she went to the doctor, and they came back from the doctor, and I said, "Well, what did the doctor say?" And my sister said, "She has lung cancer." And I said, "No, really, what did he say?" And he goes, "Well, she had lung cancer." So Mom was very stoic. She said, "I don't have time for this crap. I really don't." But she went ahead and had a lung removed, had chemo, had radiation. Now, the 5-year survival for lung cancer is 15%. Well, she survived the 5 years and, in fact, went on to live like more than 30 years. She really liked some of the things about being a cancer survivor. For example, when she was getting a chest x-ray, people would get very confused. The radiologist would get confused because basically her bones had all formed in weird patterns because no one had seen this before, because people generally didn't survive cancer by 30 years. Likewise, when she had the lung removed, everything was shifting from place to place, so that when like a young intern would come and listen to her heart, he had a really hard time finding it. And so she was just like, it's there, just keep looking. So she really had fun. She had a little bit of a sense of humor about these kinds of things. Well, when I was in my 40s, late 40s, and maybe a little bit more resilient in life, she was diagnosed again. But this time, because she was older, she was in her 70s, she was frail, they opted, instead of giving her the chemo and the radiation, just to implant a little metal barrier between the tumor and her ribs. And so I remember one rainy morning, my sister and I escorted her to the hospital for the surgery. And I remember walking down a long corridor on either side of my mom, and it was like taking her to the gas chamber. I mean, that's what it felt like. And Mom was really nervous, and my sister and I said, "Mom, everything's gonna be fine." But, we didn't know. So there were a couple of very nerve-wracking hours in the waiting room. And then the surgeon came out and he said, "Well, the surgery went fine. The tumor is benign, or at least non-aggressive. And my sister was trying to take this all in. She's a doctor, and she goes, "Well, what does that mean? What does it mean? Does that mean there was no cancer?" So she was a little confused by it all. But at any rate, we went into the recovery room, and Mom was just coming out of anesthesia. And she asked us, she goes, "Well, when am I going to have my surgery?" And we said, "Ma, it's done." So she's kind of looked confused and then said, "Well, I ran into Dr. Bamba in the hallway." Well, Dr. Bamba was our family physician for a number of years. She said, "He told me that I should be concerned for any signs of brain damage." Well, my sister said, "Mom, Dr. Bamba is now retired and living in Pennsylvania, so I don't think that you actually ran into him. I think you were probably having a dream. And Mom said, well, I'm just so confused. And that's why I'm concerned. And my sister said, you're coming out of anesthesia. That's totally normal, Mom. And I said, yeah, Mom, so don't worry about your confusion. That's when she turned to me and said, who the hell are you? And my jaw dropped, my sister's jaw dropped. And then we looked over at Mom, and she was smiling at the little joke that she had just played on us. Thank you very much.